Hi everyone. How is it going? Good. Where did we stop last time? So this is what we were trying to do. We started just a recap of what we have done so far in the term. So we started with a very simple app, a hello world type of app, then we did the calculator, and now we are doing this multi-view app. And we probably did the first three screens last time out of those four. We had a welcome screen and then we had the table view, which was showing stuff. Which one?
Sun is coming.
I don't think the shades are already down. It's filtering through the shades, is it?
It doesn't need.
Yeah, I don't think we can do anything that's as good as it's going to be. Okay. Okay. So this is what we did last time. We started the tic-tac-toe app. We designed the welcome screen. We added a table view controller, which we embedded in a navigation view controller. You all remember that? And what we did not do was the third part, blank view to host the game. But we did the table view controller and the table view cell. Let's look at it. Let's review that. So this was what we were working on. We started with the welcome screen. We added a table view controller. We designed this custom cell. And we created a couple of classes, a table view controller class here on the left you see, and a table view cell. And we associated those classes with the respective views. Do you remember how we created the table view controller class here? Just to revise. So what we did was we did a new file by right click on this folder and we chose a Swift file. And we chose, actually we chose Cocoa Touch class. We'll see a bit more of that. So this is where our app was, and if you run it now, you should see the welcome screen and a table that just shows this much. 1 and the date. Everybody is up to this point? Okay. So what do we want to do next? We want to start, today we can start building the game itself. The board that is going to host the game, where the game will be played. So in a table like this, if the, how many of you are familiar with? Okay, so on iOS, when you're looking at a list of contacts, for example, and you want to add a new one, something like that we want to do here. There is a list of games. We want to start a new game. We want to play a new game. So on iOS, how do you do that? How does it appear, and what do you do to start a new game or a new contact?
Just click on it.
So, but where? Click on what?
There.
Okay, the app is open like this. I want to start a new game now. Okay, it is showing me a list of. Imagine if this was another list, something you're familiar with, list of contacts, and you want to add a new contact. What does the interface look like for that?
New game.
New game, start new game, but is there a place, especially on iPhone, something that is common to all apps to, let's say you want to start a new email, new contact? How many of you have seen a plus button to do that on the top right corner? Right? It appears as a plus. So to add a new item, it appears as a plus. That's what we want here. And when that plus is clicked, we will start a new game. Okay? So how do we add that? You will go to your storyboard and you'll go to the library of objects and search for button. Okay, and you will see these options. It's not a regular button. Because it goes into that top bar which remains always visible as you're scrolling, it's a special type of button. It's called bar button item, the second one here. So out of these four, choose this bar button item and drag and drop it to the right here of this title, to the right. Okay, it will appear like this. So this, we have added the bar button item here. Now we are going to set its properties. So while it is selected, go to the attributes and you will see a bunch of options here. Style we won't bother with, but system item. So system item, if you click on the options, you'll see a bunch of things that are system operations that have their own icons and they will appear. And what happens is that if you use a system item for any of these actions, so these are the system operations. And if you choose any of these, you will see that icon changing. And the users, iPhone users, they know what things mean. For example, change it to compose and see what you get. Compose. So the icon here becomes like that. So the users are, they expect, they know what this will do. You don't have to invent words. You don't have to, it goes across languages, etc. So in our case, what we want is add, the first one, and it will show a plus.
I get this. When we use WhatsApp, when we gonna send some photos, it's add button.
Exactly. So like that, right? So now we have this, and what you want to do next is see right now. Okay, run the app and see what happens when you click the plus. Does anything happen? So we've got a plus button which doesn't do anything right now. Let's start making it work. So to do that, what we want is a blank game board. We want another screen which will appear next to it when the plus is clicked. So that's our blank, and we'll start filling it after that. And how will we do that? How did we add this here, the table view controller? We went to the library of objects and we searched for table view controller. Now we want just a blank screen, so we'll just say view controller. We don't want another table view controller. If you start typing view controller, at some point you will see all these yellow icons which are all controllers, and you'll get view controller as one of the options. No match. Just delete the whole thing, what you have typed, and start typing again. Just say view and space and C, and you will see it. Yeah. Okay, so this, just drag and drop it next to this one. Leave some space. So that's our blank game board. And how do we make the plus button go there?
with the right click.
Exactly. Just connect the plus with this using the right click. And this is a segue. It's asking what type of segue you're using. We'll just say show. We just want it to appear. We don't want anything fancy. Okay. So now you see, because this thing is inside a navigation controller, we've got a navigation bar on top of both the subsequent screens. You can drag it and move it to the side. Drag it using this bar here. See, this top, use that as the handle and drag it. No, don't click on any icon, yeah, in the blank space, yes. So that's how you, if your screen has dropped in the wrong place, you can always move it. Okay, so in this title bar, we gave the title in the previous screen as X's story, and that's what appears in the back button, which is what is telling you what it will go back to. And very often when you set these things up, your titles will be more elaborate, but your back button text, you will want it more controlled. So for example, this is too long. Let's say if you click on this, you can give it a title. I am going to give it a title, let's say new game. Okay. Because there isn't enough space, it automatically changed it to back. Sometimes it won't change and you will want to change it. And the way you will do it is, you see this in the same screen there is a back button, but this is not the back button here. This is the text of the back button that will appear in the next screen if there was one. So like here, this was appearing here. So here instead of back button, let me say, just for the heck of it, I'll type go back, and you will see that this next screen's back button changed to go back. That's what that back is. It is for the next screen in the navigation, wherever it is going. You have to change in the previous one. So look here. If you change it here where you said new game, you change the back button, it won't do anything to this. It's for the next screen which does not exist yet. It may not exist. But here, go back, see on this it says go back, it appears here. Okay, so at this point, run your app and see what happens when you click the plus.
The page we just built, it appears.
It appears a blank page, right? New game. Good.
Go back here also working.
Go back is also working without doing anything, right? So this is our blank screen. Now we want to start doing things there which will allow us to play the game. So what do we need on this?
Need a structure of the game.
So we need the grid, right? Let's say we place the grid here at the bottom side. What else can we show here?
And we can put two marks like cross or circle. So if a person wants to do something, they can drag it down.
So the way the game will work is, at any time it will be either X or O that will appear, right? And that is predetermined. If X has started, after X, O will play, then after O, X will play. So that is already determined. So basically, whenever something is touched, either the X or the O will appear. And we know that, right? But the person who is playing doesn't know what is about to appear. So we need to show some sort of information about, for example, whose turn it is. Let's say two friends are playing and they started talking, and then suddenly they don't remember whose turn it is. So something like that. And we may add some other information as well. But for now, we can add these two things. We can add a label and a grid. And how are we going to do that? This is, yes. Go to the library and search for image view. We will add an image of the grid, and I'll show you where to find the image. So if you search for image, it will show image view. Drag and drop it here in the bottom half somewhere. Okay. You can drop it anywhere there. And now pay attention, because we are going to size it so that it occupies the most of the area available. So this is how we will do it. The left edge, you drag it until it snaps onto the guidelines. That's the margin. And the right edge, you do the same. Okay. So that fixes its width. We want a square grid, so what we will do is we'll change its height by typing the same number. We'll find out where it is and we'll change that. So now your image takes up the entire width available. Over here on the right, where right now I have this attributes inspector, next to it is what is called size inspector. If you click on it, you will see things like width, height, x, y is the position of this left corner of the view. The views are always rectangular. So this is the geometry of the view. Where it is placed, x, y, the origin, and what is dimensions. So what we want is, we want height to be same as the width. So whatever your width is showing, type the same number in the height and press enter. And for most of you, it may go beyond, like mine went below this. So I'm going to drag it, and I'll drag it to a point where three guidelines appear on the left, on the right, and on the bottom. As you can see on the screen, there are three dotted lines. There is one in the center also, but ignore that for now. We want left, right, and bottom to be, we want it to snap to those lines. So there it is. There is our image view. Now if you go to your Blackboard, log on to Blackboard and go into weekly learning of the course. And you will see there a download available to you called images for week 4. Did we already do this last week? Did we download this? No? Okay. Weekly learning. Download and open it. And you will see a bunch of images. You will use there are 3 images for each color. You have been assigned a color. So whatever your color is, you will use that image. For now, just place it to the side. And we'll go back to Xcode for a moment. In Xcode, on the left, all of you will see something called a blue item called assets. Assets.xc assets, this one. So what happens is that anything that you embed, any static objects like images, it could be even other types of objects that you embed in an app, they're called assets. They are image assets. Oh, images are image assets, other type of objects are other types of assets. So this here, XC assets, is Xcode assets, and this itself is called an asset catalog. So if you click on it, you will see right now it has something called app icon. Now app icon is what appears when the app is installed on a phone. It will have an icon, right? We don't have anything right now. We will leave it like that. Don't change anything. Don't do anything to this. But instead, if you are working with a maximized Xcode window, restore it so you have some space available to see what you downloaded. And look for whatever your color is. Let's say your color is orange, you will use orange underscore grid. If it is red, you will use red underscore grid, right? So use that file, and what you will do with that file is you will drop it under the app icon here in this space. That will make the grid appear. So from here, drag the grid and drop it here. and then it will appear in 1x. This actually should be in 2x. By default we supply 2x images, and it basically scales beyond that. For smaller devices it needs lower resolution images. For larger, like an iPad, it needs an even higher resolution. 2x is the medium. Okay, so everybody got the grid appearing in there? No? What is the problem? So see, your Xcode, is it maximized like this? You don't see anything. So those of you who have this problem, take your mouse all the way to the top, click on this green button. Okay, when you click on this green button, you will be able to place the images that you downloaded on its side, and then you'll be able to drag and drop. So just drag the grid from here and drop it in this white space, and then move the image. It will appear in 1x, move it to 2x. Got it? Okay. Okay, so what do we do with this image? Go back to your storyboard, choose this image view, and go back to its attributes. Panparag. Addictive stuff. Okay, so select the image view and go to its attributes. First property it is showing is image. This is where you can tell what image to use. So click on the drop down and you will see a bunch of options. Some are system images available to you without doing anything, and whatever you have added to the project will appear here. So we just added a green grid, so you should see whatever color grid you added, you will see in there. Choose that. Okay, and now run your app and you should be able to see the grid on that blank canvas. It's working. Okay, so now we have a grid. How can we tell when something is touched in the grid? What do we need there? Button. Button. How many buttons?
Six.
Six.
Two buttons.
9 buttons, no? So we'll add the buttons. So what we'll do is we'll add the buttons. We'll add one button, size it to the way we like, and we'll replicate it. So in your library of objects, narrow it down to button or it's visible. So just drag and drop one button here, somewhere in this space in the first square. Okay. And now I'm going to change some of its properties so that I can, work with it. So first thing we'll do is, first thing you should do is just type an X in there, type a capital X, and then increase its size to the point where it looks like, okay, it is big enough. Okay, and then stretch it to occupy the entire square. There are other ways of doing it, more sophisticated, which is to basically use auto layout and all that. But I don't want to get caught up in that. It takes up a lot of time. Auto layout causes a lot of issues with different people. So we'll just do it manually. Okay, once you have a button of the size that you like, you can press Alt and then drag it to the next square and drop it there. And then again. Alt and drag. You will get 3 of them. Now you can select all of them by clicking on one and then command click, and then do again alt and drag, so all 3 of them will come down like this, so they will stay aligned basically. So it should look something like this. Alt and drag to make copies. Okay. Now what I want to do is I actually want to change the colors of all of these buttons, right? The text. So if you want to change something on all the buttons at the same time, you can select them all in this list. And let's say I want to change the font size or the color. I want to make it black. In one shot I can make it black. I don't have to do it one by one. Okay. Now run your app and see if you are able to view all the X's. So to change the color, if you select all the buttons that you want to change the colors of, in this case all of them. So to select all of them, you can click and then do command click one by one, or click on the first one and then shift and click on the last one. So all of them will be selected, and then in these attributes you can change the color, whatever color you like. Okay, so we've got this part. How about we're missing that label? Why don't you guys add a label at the top, change its text size, and run your app?
So what we do write in label?
Label like that in the, see above the grid we have a label where we'll display some information about the game. So add a label from the library of objects, add a label to this. Okay, and the what I will do is I have dropped it right at the middle. Did you notice that it snapped to the grid in the center? And I want it to remain centered, so I will choose alignment as center here and then increase its size so it's more readable. And then I will change its text to something like game state. This is where we'll display the state of the game, like if somebody has won the game or if it's finished or whose turn it is, stuff like that. So run the game now and you will be able to at least see this much, and then we'll start building upon it. So now we have a game board which is ready to listen to things. But is it going to listen right now? In this, if you touch, you can see the button tells you that it was pressed, but nothing is happening. what do we need here to be able to listen to this? Coding. What? So what we have right now is the view. We have to develop a controller which will listen to those. And what else do we need? We need a model. So what is a model? Yes, it connects controller with the view. What does it do? What is its purpose? What information does it contain? Game logic, yes, and game information in general. That is what the model is.